Hi, this is Aaron Shell here, bringing you the second part of the multicolor review. I'm hoping to get this done in 3 parts, so let's try to get going. Okay, first card, Drown in Filth. Choose a creature, you put the top 4 cards of your library into graveyard, then that creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each land card in your hand, in your graveyard, that is. This card is not that great for a few reasons. One is you have to choose, like, if you mill and you don't hit enough lands, it's you just wasted it. Like, I could see this being somewhat playable is you like attack into it and they take some damage and then you cast it to try to finish off their guy. That's a lot safer. Or you're playing some kind of dredge thing, but that's not really possible. This card just seems like a trap to me. It's not that good. I just don't think there are ways to get lands in the graveyard, and it's not going to be playable in any other formats because it's sorcery speed. I mean, Dredge doesn't want it because you can't dredge it, uh, and it's not repeatable. Like Dark Blast is really good in Dredge because they can just dredge it back and just machine gun things down, and it's instant speed, I believe. So this is just not that good. Emara Tandris. And now, if you don't know the story behind this, this was that right there is the token that is equal power equal the number of creatures you control, and this was supposed to be like Voice of Resurgence or something like that. That was supposed to be the guild champion, and they had to switch it around. So sorry, Selesnya, your guild champion sucks really bad. I mean, it's 7 cost for 5/7, and print all damage that we do to creature tokens. It's just not that powerful, and your 7 drop should win you the game, and this does not win you the game by any stretch of the imagination. It may make you stabilize, but it's not going to win you the game. So I personally think this is total miss. I mean, if you need a finisher, you could play, but it's not really that good. Now, Ixava, Rakdos Blood, which is actually a good card, definitely constructed playable, most likely standard. You get a 4/4 first strike haste, which is pretty damn good. But I don't think it's good enough to see play in modern. Even things like Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, which I think this is very comparable to, don't really see play in modern that much. So it's a bomb in limited. Probably see some play in constructed, um, but that's about it. Far and away, I actually like this. This is a good removal spell, and you can use it at any point in the game, and it's still good. Both sides are instants. That's awesome. So it's really good. I will be playing as many copies as I get of it. Feral Animist. Now this is actually a reprint from the original block of Ravnica, and it wasn't particularly good there. I mean, it was fine. I mean, the problem is, it's just look at that. It's a 2/1 for 3, and there's not that many ways to really bump up its power. So I could see how someone might want to play it. I mean, with Blood Rush, it's good. If you have enough Blood Rush, it will do some good work for you. But it is a lot of mana to activate, and it's very fragile to removal or blocking. So play at your own risk. It's a reasonable card, but whatevs. So Flesh and Blood. So this is basically scavenge for 5. You exile a creature from your graveyard and you put X+1/+1 counters. And then this is target creature you control deals damage equal to its power. Target creature players, this is Soul's Fire for 1 less. I actually like this combo. This is a very powerful effect because you can like scavenge like a 3 or 4 power guy, blast their blocker or their face, and then just hit in with a huge dude. So it's very powerful, but it can be blown out pretty easily because I'm not sure exactly how the targeting works yet. So I guess if this resolves first, they can kill your +1/+1 guy. Well, the guy that's gonna get the counters, and then this is like pretty much useless. So it's very good. It's a for 7 mana, it's a very good spell. Flux Charger, a 4 mana flying 1/5, and whenever you cast an instant sorcery, you may switch its power and toughness. This is very good, actually. I mean, it's not very good. It's definitely playable. This is kind of the cards Izzet likes. It can play defense and stop the early beats, and once you stabilize, it can just hit for 5 in a turn. It's really awesome. Plus, you can like trade with their bomb if you want to, by playing an instant on their turn. Now we have Gaze of Granite, and this is actually a good card to talk about because people, at least people that I've talked to, have like compared this to Pernicious Deed, like a bad Pernicious Deed, and I kind of agree. It was very reminiscent of Pernicious Deed, but it's obviously not as good. The problem is, in Pernicious Deed you could sack it, I believe, instant speed, and this is just way more expensive, and it's a sorcerer. Like Pernicious Deed was good because you could drop it on the battlefield, and you just wait until you wanted to use it. This you have to go for in one shot, and it's very vulnerable to counter magic. So, and it hits your own stuff too. So it's not. I mean, I guess Pernicious Deed did that, but you could manipulate it a lot better. So it's okay. It's too expensive to be really good, I think. Give and take. This is a card that bothers me for some reason. Like you put 3 counters on it, and then you remove all the counters and lose all that value you just got to draw cards. And you can get really blown out because if you cast this and they kill your dude, you're like, oh well, I just wasted 6 mana and a lot of my time to just do nothing. But drawing 3 cards is very powerful, even if it's for 6 mana, and any extra +1/+1 counters you have is just additional value. So don't underestimate it. It is good, but I don't think it's amazing. Gleam of Battle, whatever a creature you control attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. This is reasonably good. I think it's too expensive for Boros, but I could see it as a curve topper for Boros. It gives a way for Boros to kind of still win after they stabilize. Because I could see decks stabilizing turn 5, and then they drop this in attack and just go over the top of it. So definitely playable. It's good. Just be a little careful with it. Goblin Test Pilot, this thing is unplayable. Just deal 2 damage to target creature or player at random. Nobody wants to take the variance bet of that. I don't want to. I hope you don't want to. If it's your pet card, I'm sorry, but I just don't like it. It's stupid. Why are we wasting an uncommon slot in something that's so unplayable? Gruul War Chant. Each attacking creature you control gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. This is actually pretty good. It's like a mini overrun, kind of. So the idea is hopefully you're going to drop it and they won't be able to block for a long time. It's kind of a finisher. You may not even want to. You probably don't want to drop it on turn 4. You probably want to drop curve out and then like on turn 6 or 7 drop it. And it'll do its job well. Haunter of Night Vale. This is actually I like this card a lot. If you guys remember from Shards Block, they had Cumberstone, which was a 4 mana card that gave creatures your opponents control -1/-0, and that even had like a deck that was kind of based around it. And so I feel like this is just an upsided version of it. This is almost like drop it to instantly stabilize against aggro decks because losing 1 power on every single creature they have is very relevant, and it is a 3/4 body. However, I feel like it should have flying because it's just kind of like flying there. I think it should have been like a 2/4 flyer that had this effect. I think that would have been a really cool design for it. And then here we have the Sphinx of the set, Flying Vigilance, and it gives everything else +1/+1 until end of turn. I like this because it gives Azorius a faster clock. A lot of times with Azorius aggro, your clock is just so slow that you can't compete with a faster aggro deck, so you end up having to trade off your dudes. So this really solves that problem, and it's only 5 mana, and it'll definitely be able to block the first turn you play it. So it's pretty good. I would definitely play it. Corrosive Goregaon, 2/5 for 5 Death Touch. So it's got a decent toughness to it. So it could survive the clash, and you get extra value from the Death Touch. And its ability is very strong, removing a +1/+1 counter to give something else -1/-1. So I feel like this is a good splash for Simic. You just get extra value, and you can re-evolve your guys. So be on the lookout for that if you're in Simic. Crisis Incubation. I think this card is hilarious. I think it's really cool. It's like a throwback to Cocoon, but actually has good value. Because I feel like you're gonna cast this as like a pseudo pacifism more often than you are going to play it on your own creatures. Like, I would never play this until you hit 7 mana, because you want to play it and threaten to bounce it back to your hand so they can't attack into it, really. But I feel like you could use it a lot more effectively as a removal spell in Simic, since Simic doesn't really have that much good removal, at least usually. So then here's Lavina of the 10th. So pro red 4/4 for 5, which is decent, definitely playable. Maybe I'm not so sure about her constructed playability, because her ability is really strong against a few certain decks. It's very strong against the red green aggro that's been really prevalent recently. It's very good against that, but it's not really good against anything else. So I mean, it hits planeswalkers too, and it hits geez, what am I looking for? It hits other problem permanents. Let's put it that way. I'll try to remember what I was trying to say. So it's good, but it only lasts one turn. So it's like almost a fog with a dude attached to it. This card I think is just bonkers. Legion's initiative. So it's basically an anthem effect most of the time, and you can dodge board wipes with it. This is insane. Like, it's just so cheap that I can't see how it won't see play. I mean, you play it, you get value out of it the turn you drop it because you attack for more, and then it's all upside from there. So, I love this card. I think this is great design. Good job, Wizards. This is awesome. I want to play with this really badly. And yeah, I would pick up copies of it. It's pretty good. It may be modern playable. I don't think Legacy has any deck that fits for it, though. Master of Cruelties. This guy is actually pretty awesome, just because of the first strike death touch. So even if you're not attacking with them, you can just sit back and eat their dudes. And then when he does attack, it basically means they have to chump it, at least for the first attack. I don't like that he can't finish the game by himself. I mean, he attacks once, puts him to 1, and then he can't kill him. So I think that's hilarious, but he's really cool. Definitely commander playable. I'm not so sure about standard, just because it's so hard to make him connect, and you're probably going to be dead by the time you drop him if you're not playing anything else. But he's good. He's very good, that is. Maw of the Obsidat, a 3/3 for 5. Sack a creature. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. This capability is kind of counterintuitive. Like, you sacrifice a creature to give all creatures you control +1/+1. I don't really like that design. Like, what is he gonna do for them? He's stuck in a chair because he's so fat. Like, you throw somebody in there, how's he helping everybody else? I don't really get the flavor there. I mean, he's okay. He's good for Orzhov because he'll help you close out a game if they attack, and you can just hit them with your flyers and sack the rest of your creatures to get them huge. So it gives Orzhov a good way to get value out of their dead creatures. It's also a good combat trick. Like, if you attack and your creature's going to die anyway, you might as well sacrifice them to give your guys bonuses. And here's Melik, the Izzet champion. This card's actually cool. He's limited playable, probably not constructed playable. He's just too expensive. But his ability is sweet. Play with the top card of your library. You can cast it if it's an instant or sorcery. And whenever you cast it, you can copy it. So you like reverberate everything, and it's definitely commander fodder, but it's still really awesome. Here's the Demir champion, Maze Runner. This guy is bonkers. I love this guy. He is a little undersized for his cost, but his ability is so powerful it doesn't even matter. Whenever he deals combat damage, you Mind Funeral them. So, and that ability is just so powerful. It basically reads, if he's not blocked twice, you win the game, because that's usually what it is in Limited. So definitely look to pick up this guy. He's bonkers and limited. He may see playing constructed, at least standard, just because his ability is that powerful, and he has a decent toughness. But I think you'll only see fringe play. So that's the second part of my review. Hopefully we'll finish it with the last one, and I will see you guys there.